Welcome, everybody, to the next episode of the Bald Avenger Show. I am Jason Cisneros, also known as the Bald Avenger, the purveyor of all things common sense, the tattooed guru, the king of the Misfit Nation, and a legend in my own mind, Dan. In my own mind.
You are a legend, brother. Come on.
In my own mind. I mean, that's really the only place that it matters. And I always tell everybody, why wouldn't you want to be a legend in your own mind anyway? Like, why would you waste time, right? So I want to welcome everybody tonight. This is a very dear friend of mine, somebody who I admire, somebody that makes a difference in this world. Those of you that are around within advertising distance of Utah, you're going to know him as Dan, the laptop man, who owns PC Laptops, and they love you. It's like, can I get on your next commercial, bro?
You're on, dude.
He's got some of the greatest commercials, understands marketing and branding better than almost anybody that I know. And more than anything, I just want to introduce him as somebody who we talk a lot about, with my company, Anton J, on the consulting side, with the Bald Avenger, with the Jason Cisneros brand in general. What we talk about is we say that we want to help good people make more money so that they have more time, more money to do more good. And Dan is just a shining example of somebody who has done well for himself. He's overcome odds. He has worked his tail off for him and his family, and really invested into his community. Loves dogs and animals. I've been to a couple of fundraisers where he's relentless, to get money raised for dogs and cats and stuff that need you. And but most importantly is the man's heart and his heart to serve. He's also started his give back portion of his life. And I don't know exactly when. I'll let you kind of talk here in a second. But he also has Dan's Millionaire Code, all one word. That's how you find him on Instagram. That's how you find him on Facebook. But he's somebody, again, that I admire. He's somebody that has used his influence, his position, his success, his ability to earn for him and his family, to turn that around back into the community. And we're going to talk a lot about the different things that he's working on tonight, but I'm proud to have him on my show. I'm proud to call him my friend, and just would like to hand you the microphone and tell everybody anything that I missed about how amazing you are.
Oh, well, thank you, man. I'm just trying to serve and give back and make up for all the knuckleheadedness of my younger teenage years. So trying to equalize karma a little bit. So just trying my best here. I've got a few different tech companies, as you know, PC Laptops and Xidex, xidax.com. We build super gaming computers for everybody that's playing video games for esports, right? And a few other different projects, as you know, right now.
That's why you're in the spaceship, by the way.
Yeah, we're in the spaceship. But really now, I dedicate a lot of my time to try to give back and mentor and help people that are trying to get going, or people that are going but need to get there faster. And my motto has always been try to find people's pains and help them, heal themselves. Mm-hmm. And that's been what I've been working on with Dan's Millionaire Code.
Fantastic. Well, let's talk a little bit. Let's jump right into kind of why we both wanted to do the show tonight, and that is the support of our frontline warriors right now. And our frontline warriors, like normally, if World War I, World War II, all the different things that have happened throughout this country's history, the frontline warriors have been people carrying guns and being on that front line to protect us against, the different evils of the world. And this time, in this day and age, or this particular issue, is our frontline workers are nurses, the police force, the ER, the doctors, you've got a whole different front line where people are going in, they're fighting against an unseen battle, something that's floating in the air or on a surface or whatever it is. We can't beat that with guns and military might at this point in time. And so we've got these people who have dedicated their lives, right? I love the idea right now, Dan, that people are paying attention to our healthcare workers, our frontline workers. But the truth is that they've done it every single day throughout history. This is not new to them. This is not like, again, tuberculosis, right? It's 1.8 billion people were exposed to it last year. 10 million people got sick with it, and 1.5 million people died with it. That is the biggest infectious disease out there. And our healthcare workers are facing these types of things day in and day out. And it's great that all of a sudden it's popular for us to support them. And I hope it's something that sticks. What do you think?
Yeah, these men and women are working every single day, putting their life on the line. Police officers, firefighters, doctors, nurses, and right now this is just bringing more attention onto that.
Yep.
But their risk is great every day. So
I have a lot of conversations. I've got a lot of friends in the healthcare world. I've worked with a lot of, doctors, companies, and businesses and that type of stuff. So I have a lot of friends, and my day is kind of filled up looking to kind of break the state, right? To make them smile. I did this nonsensical video the other day, and I was, and really, like, when I was in all that get up and a mask and all this kind of stuff, I was all, it was about the 9th call of the day, because I was calling people in New York. I was calling people, in California. I was calling people that are in these hospitals that are stressed all day long. And my job was just to make them laugh, to make them smile, because they're under such intense pressure. And one of the doctors that I very, very dear friends with in a radically overwhelmed hospital right now in New York, laughed his ass off and said, "Jason, you have to go live." I'm like, dude, I will get crucified. Like, I will get crucified, because it's a big thing to shame people into, you're not taking this seriously. When I took it seriously for the first time, Dan, honestly, like, I always thought it was a thing. I've never thought it wasn't nothing. But the first time that I took it seriously was when you and I saw you in the park, right? At Sugar House Park. And we were walking and doing our thing like we always do. And I went up to you and I was like running to you to give you a big hug. And you were like, you put your elbow out. I was like, well, he knows karate, but he's also doing the social distancing thing. So, that was like when I again, it just kind of clicks for different people at different times. It was like, all right, I can't hug my brother right now because we got to be careful. Maybe not that we're the ones that are at risk because we're healthy, we're younger, that type of thing, but we don't want to get that and then pass it on to somebody that we might do damage to, right?
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So talk to us a little bit about this project that you've got. I've seen you on the news. I've seen, I've heard a little bit about your, getting masks. You've got your team packaging up care packages and whatnot for the frontline workers. Talk to us a little bit about that and what we can do to support you.
Okay, so let me just tell you kind of what sparked it. So I made a phone call to Sean Reyes. He's our Utah Attorney General.
Yep.
And his father just passed away, right? Mm-hmm. And so he's going through all this stuff. So a friend calling a friend, "How you doing, man?" And he's like, "Man, it's crazy." And I thought he was referring to his father passing away, but he says, "I'm going through that, but the frontline responders right now, many of our firemen and our police officers are completely out of gear. And in many states, like in New York, you have like 1,500 officers, like almost 20% of the police that are infected, and they can't go out and respond to problems. It's happening to firefighters and everything like that." And I said, "What do you need?" And he said, "I need these N95 masks." So we had a whole bunch because we manufacture computers, right? So we had a whole bunch. I'm like, well, let me have my guys bring them over. And so I just jammed down there in my Jeep, loaded it up, and gave him a few to help out with those. And he says, next day, he's like, "Man, we're out." And they sent them all over Utah. And then we started getting phone calls from doctors and nurses in New York. I mean, pretty renowned people, and they were having the same shortage. So at first we wanted to make this kind of a Utah thing. I was like, well, maybe we can help people in Utah. The government may be able to try to help out and stuff, but we expanded it out. So we've been shipping to New York, New Jersey, and then all over, of course, Utah as well with this protective equipment. So how people can help, though, is two things. Donate, and it doesn't have to be some huge amount of money. Do what you can. If you're doing really well, donate a little more. If you're having tough times, $10 will protect two frontline responders. That supply them with N95, gloves, hand sanitizers, everything for like $10. and realize each one of these people come into contact with hundreds of victims a week. So, you know, by minimizing that exposure, it keeps them safe, but it keeps all those people safe. So it's a pretty big deal right now.
Got it. All right. So let me put in where can they go? Cause I'm going to just put it in the comments right now, and then we're going to post it later when we rock out the show. But where can people go to support?
Let me just cut and paste that link for you. Maybe
Okay.
that'll help you real quick there. And this link will forward to the charity. Let's see if we can do that for you here. Here we go. Okay, so that's the GoFundMe.com, Fight COVID-19 Utah. But it is a national deal now. And people can, of course, go to any of my social media pages, and in the profile links, like on Instagram at Dan's Millionaire Code, there's a link there as well.
So if I did a at Dan's Millionaire Code, that will pop you up. I'm going to throw that in the
And if you guys have some time, go to the GoFundMe and just go to the bottom and look at some of the updates. We've posted videos from New York hospitals and from our frontline responders. There's dozens of pictures of what's actually going on from the people actually in the field. And I think it's important for people to see that, because you know how the news is, it kind of skews things quite a bit.
You know, I've been honestly, brother, like I just have been on, you know, in the beginning of all this, I just started this series that you're involved in right now, which is CTFD. It's Calm the Freak Down, you know, and it was just to say, take a deep breath, right? The bus is tumbling in an accident, right? And we don't know where it's going to land. We're really uncertain about it. And so in the beginning, I was just like, let's focus on loving each other. Let's focus on how we can support each other. Let's focus on that kind of stuff. And then it shifted a little bit to where I felt like I needed to shift into offense a little bit, right? I needed to be like, all right, not only now that it's sort of tumbling, yes, thank God the numbers are coming down. Yes, thank God the social distancing is working. Thank God we've got some potential therapies, some potential virus or anti-vax. We've got all of these different things that we're working on. And what has happened and what I've been watching, and I want you to comment on this a little bit, is that people have felt like it was their position to continue to scare people, right? And there's been a lot of people that have gotten a tremendous amount of attention because they want to scare people. And I got really offended because, I mean, I'm very sensitive to bullying in the first place. You know my life, you know my backstory, you know all this stuff. I'm very, very sensitive to bullying. And this country was built, like I think, I mentioned World War I, World War II. There's been so many things, 9/11, there's been so many things that Americans have faced. And we coalesce around this idea that we are bigger than the problem. Yes, people may die while we're fighting that problem, but we will not lose our national identity. And that's been the case. And I feel like right now that there's been this overwhelming rush to anybody that wants to question. It's not a matter of, not one time have I ever said this isn't real. Not one time have I ever not said that you should take it seriously. Not one time. But what I do want to do is have people keep an eye on our civil liberties. I want us to keep an eye on making sure that when we come out of this, we are a better country. That's always been the case, is that we always come out better on the other side of it because we handled the situation correctly. And I see a lot of bullying happening online. If you don't toe the company line, if you don't toe the you have to be afraid of this line. And that's been frustrating me a little bit, brother. I'm just being honest with you. It's been frustrating me a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you see?
I look at it, I'm more of a math person. So really, I just look at the mathematics and really where the curve is going to be in that. And just from my analytics, I've posted some of my math on my sites. and that I see probably a couple weeks of, really, this is when we're peaking, but it's going to come as a wave across the country. Maybe where we are in Utah and going into some of the different areas here, it hasn't quite hit that, as much as it's going to be. And it's not going to be the end of the world or anything like that. And then after that, it's going to be, I think, a big rush for everyone to get back. And this is why you're seeing stock market reactions and those kind of things. But the one thing I think that's really important is, ever since we're little, we think, police officers or firemen or government is just they're ready. But here's the thing. If the government was truly ready, we wouldn't have this shortage of protection equipment for first responders, though. And so really it's entrepreneurs, it's individuals that are really be able to make most of the difference. It's the same thing with, what drives most of the economy. It's not just a few big companies, it's all these little businesses across America, which can really make that difference together. And really, that's an important thing now is the message I've been trying to get out to people who are following Dan's Millionaire Code is simply this. Now is a time where the greatest opportunities are made. And, during World War II, I was listening to a few different podcasts and articles. I heard multiple times that during World War II, Coca-Cola almost went bankrupt, right?
Yep.
And what happened one of the founder guy there, he came up with this idea of, hey, you can give people a little taste of home, right? And sugar was rationed and everything like that. And the government gave Coca-Cola rationed sugar to give to the troops. And they offered to sell to the troops for 5 cents a bottle. And they actually the government paid for over 60 manufacturing plants to make Coca-Cola and distribute across the world during World War II while we were fighing, the Nazis and stuff.
And I want everybody to hear what you're saying. It was to bolster, our national spirit, right? It was
Exactly.
to bolster our national spirit. And that's what I think is the challenge right now is everybody's so that, you've got these people who are doomsdayers and they want to press down. And that's the thing I'm fighting against is that you can't do that. Like you have to keep morale high. And our government stepped in and they did this Coca-Cola thing, which, at the end of the day, all it did was bolster that national spirit. It bolstered the morale of people. And I'm just screaming. It feels like I'm screaming against the wind, brother, that we have to be vigilant, but we do not, nowhere in the dictates of any of this stuff that's happening are we required to be afraid.
Yeah, so here's a simple solution. Fear does not exist with gratitude. We all know this, right? You can't have that with gratitude. But how do you have gratitude? By giving. So look, if you're broke, go out and help some older people pick up their groceries, right? Make those deliveries for those vulnerable people. Volunteer, do what you can, if you have a little bit of money, if you're, and you're doing well, contribute towards something, whether it's helping with masks or helping with food or whatever that may be, right?
Yep.
There's something you can do. If you stay so busy proactively helping other humans, you will not have fear because you'll be so busy.
I literally just want you to repeat that sentence again.
If you're proactively busy helping other people and you're so busy doing that, that cannot coexist with fear. Right? So the problem is when people sit there, watch Netflix all day, watch the news and their Twitter feed all day, and then they get depressed and they get anxiety though. Second thing too is get physically active. As I see bumping into you at the park. We're distance, but man, we're exercising like fools in the downtime that we do have to clear our head so we can be effective and fulfill our mission. And our mission is to find people's pains and heal them all day long.
It's to ease suffering 100% of the time.
You won't even have a problem sleeping at night though, because you'll be exhausted from what you're doing, from
service, exhausted from service. And that I love that you're on here, brother, because you and I have two different personalities. We are very different human beings. You are very polished and very, you have a way about you that is very calm. I'm on the other spectrum where I'm just different than you. And yet we're bringing that same message, which is that your greatest opportunity is to remain calm and grateful and service oriented in this time of confusion and tumult.
Jason,
right?
can I share you something that one of
Please.
my mentors 25 years ago, Roger Anthony, shared with me?
Okay.
It's called, I want you guys to write this down if you can. It's called, he said, you can pass it on. It's called ROMPA, ROMPA.
ROMPA?
Yes.
Okay.
And I want you guys to just get this, and I'll say it a couple of times if it helps. ROMPA stands for, when you're in a stressful situation, a dire situation like we are now, is relax, observe what's going on, manage your emotions, plan, and then violently take action, attack. ROMPA. It's really the secret to solving military tactical situations when you're engaged with anything. This is, I mean, if you don't have your cool, if you're not relaxed, observing what's going on, managing your emotions, planning your attack, and taking massive action, then you're not getting to the outcome. But if you practice that over and over, and look, you'll get good at it as long as you write that down, ROMPA, and you do it every single day. I remind myself every morning about this. Okay, what am I doing? And if you're stressed, if you're having anxiety, if you feel paralyzed to this, a lot of times it's because you're not following that pattern of action.
I love that. And my personal vendetta, like I'm battling against people that I love deeply because they're looking at it and they're like, there's this natural equation that says you have to take it seriously, and correspondingly that means that you have to be scared out of your wits, right? And we're like, you got to look at the numbers, and you got to look at your numbers, and you got to look at the numbers, and the numbers, brother. Like, I love that you're a numbers guy. I'm a numbers guy. We have to be, because we're pragmatic business owners. We will not have, there's no way that we could get to where we are if we weren't pragmatic, numbers, data-driven human beings. Now, the problem is that you have a bunch of recently, like, ding, I'm a epidemiologist. Ding, I'm a infectious disease expert, when your whole life might have been, operating on pinkies, right? And now we're regurgitating 4 or 5 different mathematical models from around the world that have been consistently wrong. Because to your point, like, I love the fact that you're a computer guy, you're a technology guy, you're data driven, and you know more than anybody else that's out there that if the inputs are wrong, what's going to happen to the output?
Exactly. Not going to be right.
It's not going to be right.
Right.
And so what you're saying is fall back into the position of this ROMPA, right? Relax, observe, manage your emotions, and plan, and then violently take action, because that's the stuff that you as an individual can control in your life. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and why I say violently take action is not like you're physically hurting anybody, but I want you guys to ask yourself a question. Who do you love most in your life? Is it your wife, your daughter, whoever it is, your mom, your dad? What would you do to save them? What would you do? How far would you go? I mean, that's an interesting question, because when you can answer that question, what would you do for that person or those people you love the most? That's how determined you need to act in your action. And that's how much power you need to punch through it. You can't simply just, sprinkle on it. It's got to be to that level of intensity.
It does. And that's how I felt about this. And that's how I've been attacking it, to the point where, brother, like online, because I'm not telling people not to take it seriously. I'm just saying you can only control those things that you can control. And so online, like, I've had a lot of people go, well, if your daughter got sick, and I hope you get, like, I've had 3 or 4 or 5, I don't know, maybe a dozen times now, where they hope I get sick because they don't think I'm taking it seriously. Like, and it's simply because I'm in a battle for people's mindset, because that's where the power lies. It doesn't lie in being afraid and being scared, because a lot of people, especially Misfit Nation that follows me and that we're all interacting together, a lot of us have been through trauma. A lot of us, go ahead.
Oh, the big question is, are you going to level up as a human? Are you going to level up physically? Are you going to level up financially? Are you going to level up spiritually? Are you going to grow, or are you going to retreat? Because this is the decision you need to make today. if you're going to be stronger and come out of this stronger. And I'll tell you what, probably 90%, 95% of people will level down in some way or another. But that small percentage of people that level up, and especially if you can do it in the physical, financial, spiritual, and all those aspects, you're going to be in a definite advantageous position when we come out of this. And you're going to be looked to as a leader if you step up.
That's right. That's right. I love that, man. And again, it's so funny to hear your message come out in a different way than I'm saying it. And at the end of the day, that, like the people, Sean and Sean Reyes and our other brother, Sean, and, all of the people that we're surrounded by, Paul, and, all of our boys, they're so calm right now because for 10 years, like I had this, Cheryl Snap Connor, right? So the PR lady from here in town, she's just an amazing human. And she runs Snap Connor PR. And she called me up and she said, Jason, thank you for preparing me for this period of time. Because during the good times, and I know I've heard you speak, and this is what you train people in Dan's Millionaire Code, is that during the good times, you should be taking stuff off the table because good times don't always last, right? Good times don't always last. You got to be prepared. And so, I mean, even to the point where I've gotten, well, Jason, it's easy for you to be calm during this period of time because you've been successful and so on and so forth. And I'm like, so now it's bad, right? It's a bad thing that somebody prepared during the down times because we can't have empathy for other people, when in truth, the greatest empathy is serving people in their time of greatest need.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And you've probably been inundated with this. I've had hundreds of entrepreneurs call me, Dan, what do I do? How do I get these loans? Am I going to go out of business? Should I give up? I've had friends that have companies that are doing hundreds of millions of dollars just close and fire 90% of staff in like week one. Yep. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Like, rampa, man.
Right.
Like, strap on your courage, man. Let's just have a plan and let's execute this, and you're going to come out fine. And luckily though, most of the people that were in that we've been able to talk to did it. And today they're like, I'm operating. And some of them are like, I'm making more and I'm more successful than before because I don't have any competitors because all their heads in the sand.
Thank you right there. Because people are operating out of fear. If you operate in common sense and you relax, this rampa, I love it. It's a great analogy that you're able to operate. And it's everybody, like all of the people that use us at Anton J, our company, I haven't laid off a single person. Like I don't plan on laying off a single person.
Me neither. We're hiring right now. So.
Right. And we're literally ramping up because we didn't need this prior to this, but we're actually certifying Anton J certifications right now so that we'll be able to handle this backlash when everybody gets back to work, the companies that are going to be needing it. So we're the same thing. We're growing in a time of downturn. You haven't fired anybody. That's not your heart. That's not your spirit. You are taking pragmatic approaches. And not only that, Dan, and this is what I admire you so much for, is that you've got, you've got 2 companies, 3, right? You have 3 companies?
5.
You got 5 companies. So
cloud stuff. Yeah.
Right. So you have 5 companies, hundreds of employees, a lot of stress on that side of the equation. And where most of your attention has turned is, how can I get some masks on the faces of the people that take care of us?
That's the most important thing. And, and I see some comments going through here too about, here's one that, you can still be calm and not highly, super rich, to be, successful with this. You don't really need a lot of money per se. Wherever you are, you can contribute something. So even if you, are barely making it, right? Barely making it, you can help out those older folks in that neighborhood that need that help. Maybe they just need someone to talk to, right? Because a lot of it is mental, like we're talking about. If you can even alleviate fear, that's just as good as giving $1 million. If you can help alleviate fear. And really is that courage is built. That courage is built, and that lack of fear, the fear goes away when you practice courage. So I encourage everyone, just take one step of courage, and courage means service, like one action a day. And if you start with one, you'll be helping 25 people a day, right? 100 people, whatever you're going to do.
Yeah, and Rayanne that said that. Rayanne's such a good example of that. Is that she's had some challenging times, an accident, some health issues, both her and her husband. But that woman has never stopped serving, and that's one of the greatest things that I love about her, and what makes up most of Misfit Nation. Doesn't matter if you're broke or if you have $1 billion. The idea of being a misfit is that you've screwed up in your life. You've made it right. You've forgiven yourself, and you've used that lesson to serve people at another, serve people to help them avoid that pitfall that maybe we went through, that they don't have to because of our wisdom, which is, I know why you put together Dan's Millionaire Code. You certainly don't need another company. You certainly don't need the money, right? You certainly don't need to do that. That is your heart on full display. And then this turning around and serving people that are on the front line is just another example of you being who you are, and you're taking it seriously, and you're not afraid. And so you're one of the greatest examples of people that I could bring on the show during this time to show that this is what I've been saying. Dan is an example of somebody who is taking it seriously and not afraid. And he has turned on his warrior jets to say, I was built for times like this, and I will come out of this stronger than I went into it.
Jason, I got to just say, as far as fear goes, I'm not fearless. I do have bouts of fear and bouts of anxiety. But again, I shift back to the Rampa, do more service, give more, and that cures. That is the medication that cures the fear. Because again, while you're taking that action, fear just rolls off of you, especially when you see people who are in a much less fortunate situation, being able to be protected, healed, saved in any sort of way. That builds your armor. That makes you more of a superhero, right?
Right.
So, and everybody has the power to be that massive superhero in one way or another.
Every single human being. I want you to hear that from Dan, because he's an example of that. Our heart, our love goes out to our brother, Sean Reyes, losing his father. But as you said, this issue with, he's our top cop in our state, and, doing his best to put masks and protect his people. On top of that, we had not only one, but we've had a series of like 100 earthquakes going on, it's been crazy in our state, right?
Yeah. The whole world. We got locusts in South Africa or something.
No, bro. Like when I was here in my studio, right, and it's on the top floor of my building, and when that 4.7, or no, sorry, the 5.7 hit, like I was like, okay, if the building doesn't fall down, I'm gonna look outside and see if there's locusts coming.
You lived in California for a long time, right?
Yes.
As well as me. I'm from Southern California, and so It was either someone's subwoofers or an earthquake.
Right.
I mean, one of the two.
One of the two. It was
Yes,
one of
right.
those two. I love it. Well, what do you want to leave us with, brother? I just want to say thank you for being here. I want to say thank you for your heart. I want Misfit Nation to go to the site and to support and to do what they can. I'm certainly going to. And there's lots of different, as there's like 50,000 different angles for people that are in you and I's position, where people are like, can you help? Right. And we're doing our best to manage those phone calls. I'm behind on getting back to people, which I never have been. But I know
I feel you, man.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like not getting back. I mean, a long time ago, Tony Robbins responded to a complete unknown idiot, and took time out of his day, which was probably an autoresponder. But I'm going to say that he responded, and since then I've always wanted to make it a priority to get back to everybody, and I'm behind on that right now, and I will get caught up. I just want everybody to know that. So, what do you want to leave us with, brother?
So a couple things. I want everyone right after this live to take one or two or as much action as you can take, but pick at least one thing, whether it's supporting, helping the first responders. That could be one thing. It's maybe calling up somebody who is having a hard time mentally. If you know any senior citizens or anything like that, you don't want them going to the grocery store right now. Make a grocery store run for them, right? Drop it off on their porch. If you know a family that's hungry, that lost their job and they got nothing and they're not getting any support, just clean out a little bit of your pantry, drop it off. Or just simply a phone call, call your mom,
Right.
Do something immediately after this.
I love that. Take action. Take action. Well, here's what I'm going to tell everybody to do. Go follow Dan on Dan's Millionaire Codes. He's a dear friend of mine, somebody, again, that I admire, somebody that I have a lot of respect for because he puts his money where his mouth is. He walks the walk. He talks. He doesn't just talk it. Those of you that have been watching and paying attention out there, that 90% of the influencers that are out there have completely poof, they're gone.
Yeah.
They're gone because they can't pay their Lamborghini rent payment. They can't, pay whatever the reason is that there was not that fortitude and that steadfastness in a lot of people that were trying to advise you on how to live your life. I can tell you and promise you that anything that Dan says to you, it's not for his own benefit. It's for his give back. It's for his service. It's for his leadership. And he is one man that has done what everybody else was out there as social media influencers were saying that they were doing. This man has done it and followed through and has the highest level of integrity of almost anybody that I've ever met. And I thank you, brother, for taking some time out of your spaceship as you rotate around the earth. And, you and Elon, right? You and Elon.
Well, my old mentor, Bill here.
Yeah, your old mentor, Bill.
Yeah.
You're on some board with Bill and Elon, aren't you?
Microsoft Partner Advisory Council and then Intel Board of advisors as well. So.
All right. So you're smarter than I am. Okay, go ahead and rub
just
that
nerdy,
in.
just nerdy. Like video games,
Right on. All right, brother. Well, I love you. Thank you, everybody, for dialing in to this evening. Those of you that are watching this on replay, those of you that are catching us on iTunes and iHeartRadio and YouTube and all that, just reach out. Follow Dan's Millionaire Code. It's on Facebook and it's on Instagram. One of the people that you will not be sorry that you dialed into and started taking some of his advice. So thanks again. We'll see you again tomorrow night for another episode of the Bald Avenger Show. During this period of time, I'm going live every night for the CTFD series and bringing on interesting guests and approaching hard subjects and making sure that we love each other, support each other, and do the best that we can during this period of time so that we are proud of ourselves when we get to the other side of this. Thanks for being here, brother.
Thank you.
Okay. Peace.